To all young believers out there, with young believer, I mean believers younger than 20 years old. Or if you're 21, 22, I can still consider you a young believer. Anyway, to all the people out there who are around 20 years or younger, or 21, 22, that became born again, who are new into the faith, or became born again when you were 15, for example, and you're 19 now, to all believers who are in their adolescent years, listen to what I'm saying here. This is something that you will likely not hear in church, not even discussed online that often. I'm a believer since very young, in my early teens, and I've been walking by faith for a while now. And I've overcame a lot of trials, tribulations, and a lot of retaliation against me. What I'm about to teach you now may not only save your life, but also the lives of those around you. Listen well. When you step out of the darkness of society, the people who are invested in society will notice this. And the moment you are not into the violence of society anymore, the moment you're not dependent anymore on the approval of society, the moment society loses its grip to impress you with its threats and with its violence, the moment that happens, those invested in society will have issues with you. Because one thing you need to understand, people without Christ, people that don't walk by faith, they have no long-term security. So the only counterfeit security they have is to threaten others to comply with the group. And to some extent, this is understandable, because if you have someone who's a violent narcissist and he does whatever he wills without considering other people, then you need to have something to keep him in check. Now, if you don't have the power of the Holy Spirit, then the only thing that's left for you is to use violence in a structural way. However, this is not an excuse. Everyone's supposed to become born again and worship the Heavenly Father. But understand this, as long as someone is not born again, nor renewed in their minds, they are relying on the violence of society. So they only feel safe when you are subjected and vulnerable to that same violence. The moment you have a leverage that you can say no to the violence of society, that means you're able to ignore society altogether and to get away with it. And common folks can't handle this. When you are freed from the darkness of society, you will encounter people who out of the blue, will walk into your life. Without what I mean with your life is your environment, where you live, or your affairs. Because there's no such thing as your life, my life, and all that. You just have human beings alive on the earth. Privacy, private lives, and all those things don't exist. Already explained that. But okay, so I'm using your life just as a term to reflect to your circumstances and where you are. So there are going to be people who will approach you, who want to be involved with you, and will develop this interest in you. But mark my words, their interest is not genuine. Why are they suddenly interested in you? Why weren't they never interested in you before? Because now you are a threat to the stability of society. Because now you can see through stuff. Now you can see the blackmail. Now you can see the collective or rather societal narcissism of the group. Before that, you had no idea. Before that, you just complied because other people expected of you. Now, you're questioning people's expectations. Now you realize that many of the expectations you were taught as a child actually doesn't add up. And now you realize that anytime you question those expectations, people punish you. So now that you are renewed in your mind, you realize, hold on a minute, why are people just demanding things from me and expecting things from me, but the moment I question them, they turn on me, they throw a tantrum. And these are adults doing it. Now you realize this doesn't add up. So now you begin to see through the darkness of the group. And once you're seeing through the darkness of the group, people are going to feel it, that you're seeing through them. And people can't handle this. So when people notice that you have this peace around you, that they don't have, then they know instinctively that you have a leverage over them. So then people will discuss this amongst each other. Behind your back, people will talk about you. And people will be anxious about you, think what's wrong with him. Now those that are experienced will know that it is because you're born again and they are lost. And they'll instantly will hate you because they realize, oh, he has chosen Christ. That means we can't blackmail nor harm him anymore. What happens then is those people who are experienced, what I mean is those who know the truth but rejected the truth, they'll become upset with you and they will seek, if you're delivered yet, try to keep you in the wilderness as much as possible. Because by doing that, they'll be hindering you from doing God's will. Now, other people who have no idea about the spirit realm, they can be used by demons to hinder you. Those people just feel uncomfortable that you're not in the same anxiety as they are. But whether people are aware of what they're doing or not, when you are freed from the darkness of society, a lot of folks will develop an interest in you just to hinder you. So beware of this. Just because someone tells you they are a believer and they love Jesus Christ also, that doesn't mean they're telling the truth. A lot of people will just flat out lie to you just to sabotage you. Because I'm telling you as it is, many people are upset with you when you can't be blackmailed anymore. Society operates through blackmail. Now, there's nothing wrong with the group expecting something from you. And there's nothing wrong with the group forcing you or coercing you to do something. If, for example, the group coerces you to stop at a red light in traffic, well, that coercion is justified. Or when the group coerces you to look for help when you're sick, that's justified. So there are times people can expect things from you, and there are times people are justified in forcing you to cooperate. However, the expectations or the demands must be accounted for. And that's where the problem lies. Worldly people just want what they want and expect you to take it. And when you don't give them what they want and they feel rejected, they feel entitled to escalate against you and to blame you for it. And that's the societal narcissism I'm talking about. Before you became born again, you may have noticed this societal narcissism, but hey, because this is just how things are, you think, well, they must have their reasons, or you just got along with it. Some of you didn't even notice it, but now that you're born again and you're renewing your mind, you realize that it's abnormal and even unnatural for people to just expect things from you and to feel entitled to harm you when you give them what they want. And it's even worse, some people don't even care if what they expect of you is unhealthy or detrimental. They just want it, and their will is the only thing that matters. It's all about them. And it's when you're walking by faith and you begin to operate in potential, it's then that most of the violence will emerge. Now, once you cross the Jordan, that's figurative for once you begin to operate in potential as a believer, so you're out of the wilderness, now you'll be able to outsmart and bypass all the retaliation of the world. But before that, before you cross the Jordan, you will encounter a lot of violence. Because worldlings can't handle the reality that they cannot blackmail you. Am I saying that all worldly people are violent narcissists that want to exploit you? No. But all worldlings have this narcissistic mindset, this black and white thinking, that they don't want to look at the bigger picture. They just want to escape, and in the worst case, they just want to escalate to be at ease. Worldlings are chronic fleers. That's what they are. Because they have no power of Christ in them to face life challenges victoriously. So either they cope with issues in life, or they escalate just because they want to be left alone, or just flee. They always bring excuses. Worldlings are chronic fleers. Not all of them are bad people, but because they're chronic fleers, they carry pollution with them. And as long as you participate in their pollution, they are fine with you. But the moment you are freed from the darkness of society, beware. So, unless there's proof that someone is safe, keep them at a safe distance. This is not you becoming paranoid. This is not you becoming antisocial. It's you being alert. When you are not subjected to the blackmail and violence of society, society seeks to exterminate you. That's how simple it is. Well, that's it for now. Keep on agreeing with Christ and be at peace.